the Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy wave of figures. And the Build-A-Figure for this particular wave is Groot. You'll need to buy all 6 figures to form the Groot figure. And each one will have body parts. Raccoon will have the upper torso, as well as that weapon, that bomb weapon that they used to kill Ronan. Iron Man will have the right leg, while Nova will have the right arm, Star-Lord the left arm, Gamora the left leg, Batista the what's this guy's name? Drax will have the lower torso. So you'll need all of them to build Groot. And I think it's a fairly decent set. If you enjoyed the movie, this set is just gonna blow your mind away. It's a nice set to have, especially if you love the cosmic universe that Marvel is just trying to do. All right, so let's get started. Let's start with Rocket. Since he's the easiest one to do. He's the smallest figure in the lot, and he's got obviously he'll be given the biggest Build-A-Figure piece, which is the upper torso and the head. He comes with his signature blaster, which he can hold fairly well with his left hand, not with the right, and he can pose him with the blaster this way. Yeah, it's okay. Let me get rid of that. The figure itself is very limited, to say the least. Wasn't too pleased with this figure. I mean, I love what the figure stands for. That's why a lot of people are after this particular figure. But the figure per se, it's not the best figure in the world. It only has very limited articulation. It's got a ball-jointed neck, ball-hinged shoulders and elbows, swivel wrist, and a swivel tail, plus a ball-jointed hip. That's about it. You know, I wish they could have given him more articulation in the legs, just like they did with Puck, but that might have been too costly for them. Paint apps, yeah, pretty horrible on this one. There's a lot of smudging here and there with the black and the orange. And you know, the biggest thing I didn't like about this figure was really they didn't give him an articulated mouth. They should have given him at least that. They took out the knees and the ankles. I wish they could have just given him, you know, a mouth, so just to give it some expression. I mean, come on. But overall, the figure is not too bad. But it's a good figure, but it's not a great figure. You know, people are just getting this because of the movie, because they liked how the character was. And it was funny, and he really had a lot of amazing scenes, and the figure itself to me is just a 7. So he can't stand on his own feet. You'll need to use the tail to support him. He also comes with this, the weapon they used to kill Ronan. You can just put it here on on the figure's chest, and excuse me, there are handlebars right here where the figure can hold it. You can have Drax hold it on the final scene, but not sure if you want to, you know, there's really no reason to do that because they didn't give us a Ronin figure. So again, just those little things that Hasbro didn't think about. But still, you know, it's still a great set. So this one is just made of the soft PVC material. There's no point of articulation, nothing moves or anything. It's just a solid piece that Rocket built. Okay, let's move on to Gamora. Gamora was actually one of the figures I was really looking forward to, but ended up being a little bit disappointed. Okay, let's start with the head sculpt. Does it look like Zoe Zoltan? I'm a big fan of the actress. In some ways, yes. I wish the green could have been just a tad bit darker in shade. She looks a little bit pale in this one. The sculpt overall is not too bad. I like the silhouette. However, because they focused too much on the silhouette, the articulation was severely, yeah, it was severely restricted or limited. So paint apps, not too bad. There's a little bit of flaking going on here and there, some scratches there, yeah. But I like the whole colors of this one. This is her original costume when she was still working for Ronin. He's got a ball jointed neck, ball jointed upper torso, ball hinge shoulders, ball hinge elbows, ball hinge wrist, ball jointed hip, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles, but no rocker joints. One thing that really a little bit peeved me with this figure is that the hips, they molded it. Well, it's a very shapely type of silhouette that they did. I love that. But because of that, it's very difficult to move her legs to the side. You can't do her in those ninja kick positions. It's going to be very, very difficult. Or some dynamic fighting scenes poses. It's going to be very difficult because of this, the way the hips or the side of her hips and thighs have been molded. Thigh swivel, sorry, I forgot to mention that. Having said that, it's still a nice figure. It's a great figure to display with, but action poses, well, there's not gonna be a lot of options to choose from. Also, they made her feet very small. They're very proportioned. I know she's a female figure and they have to make the legs proportional, but I wish they could have made the soles a little bit more flat and wider in some way, because it's just so, it'll be very difficult to stand this figure on the shelf, and I can already imagine it just tipping over. And even with the base, I mean, because of the temperatures here in Manila, I can already see this figure sagging forward and backward, and just like the Emma Frost figure, and it's gonna suck. But anyway, she comes with this sword. I wish it was telescopic so she could put it here, or some way to put the sword. This is probably the closest we'll get to it. There's no holster or scabbard. Yeah, but I thought the sword was pretty small. If you're a big fan of model kits, Evangelion, you know, I thought this might have been a better weapon. I mean, it should have been this big. I mean, I thought this weapon was a little bit too puny. I thought in the movie her sword was a little bit bigger, and she's like, you know, an assassin. She needs a badass weapon. Let's even take it further one more step. She could have like a big ass sword. These are weapons of the Neon Genesis Evangelion prototype. No, 01. The 01 robot. This is the ones 01 or 02? The purple one. These are the ones I just took out. I thought they looked better on Gamora. Look at that. They look alien. I just spray painted with silver, but you know, gray is fine. And it should look better this way. Maybe give her a knife stab with. I mean, yeah, if she can hold it. I mean, these kinds of weapons. I mean, Hasbro should have made it about this big. And I do understand where they're coming from. They try to make it kid friendly. It's not. They have to make it with the soft PVC material. It's not too soft. It's stiff enough to stand up, but it just doesn't have enough dramatic feel to it. But anyway, so that's Gamora, and I don't know how I'm gonna make her stand up. So we'll put her off to the back for now. Okay, with Drax. Okay, now let's move on to the figure that everybody was really after. It is the Richard Rider Nova. Now, this is not a movie figure. These were the movie figures. These are the comic book figures. And you're wondering, was he part of the Guardians of the Galaxy? Well, not exactly. He's had adventures probably with them, but he's more prominently remembered in the Thanos Imperative, where he teamed up with Star-Lord himself in another costume. He was in his blue costume, and they tried to do away with Thanos by trapping him. It was a suicide mission, they realized, to trap him in the Cancerverse. But something happened, and Thanos and this guy came out alive, and he was nowhere to be found. If you want to know what happened, you got to read Guardians of the Galaxy Original Sin tie-up. Now, the figure uses a heavily modified Cyclops body mold from the Puck Wave. It's great. It's a great choice. The paint apps on this guy is phenomenal. There's some hitches here and there, but you know, overall, I love what they've done with this figure. It's an amazing figure. The sculpt, silhouette, perfect. So Gamora, so Rocket gets a 7. Gamora is gonna get, because I like the character, is gonna get an 8. This one is gonna get a 10 out of 10. Fantastic sculpt, great paint apps, articulation is just great. He's got a ball jointed neck on a hinge, hinge upper torso, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joints. I absolutely love this figure. I didn't read too much of the comic books, but I can understand why fans are after this, as well as scalpers. You'll never find this one on retail standing all by its lonesome for more than a couple of hours, I presume. So very nice. No weapons included, just the piece. If you're looking through several on the pegs, make sure the blue on the gold is just painted well enough, and that his eyes are painted also well enough. There are no bent pieces and whatnot, but you know, usually if you see one, just go pick it up if you're really after this figure. So very nice. Next, let's finish all the comic book characters. Iron Man. This is the space armor. It's a heavily retooled. There was an armor that was released with the Ironmonger Marvel Legends, the Iron Man 3 Marvel Legends figures, and the Build-A-Figure was the Ironmonger, and they released a bleeding edge armor, or the modular armor, whatever, and that's the same mold they used for this one. Relatively the same mold. A little bit disappointing that they used the same mold. They just added some plates here and there. They changed the head sculpt, but they didn't change too much well, maybe they did. Well, not as much as I wanted them to do it. In the comic books, this one isn't painted on. It's actually recessed. These are like molded in. It's like there's like a crevice right there. These lines, these sort of solar lines, are like molded in. They should look like these cuts and crevices on the armor, but they just painted on it. Hasbro was a little bit too lazy on that. Nevertheless, it's still a good figure. I'm a big Iron Man fan. A lot of fans are leaving this on the pegs for obvious reasons, because he's not really a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he had a brief stint with the Guardians when, after the events that led to the death of the Mandarin, Tony Stark decided, I'm going to explore space. So he packs up an armory of armors, and he wears this and goes off into space, and he has an adventure. He meets the Guardians, and he becomes an honorary member, and then he gets sent back to Earth because of the events that took place in the Infinity event, whatever. Anyway, very nice. It's good enough representation. It's as close enough as you'll get to the space armor. I wish there were more details. Annoying bits, yeah, these are gonna be popping off. I mean, yeah, there's nothing they could do. If they had molded it, you would have limited articulation. But overall, I'm very pleased with the sculpt on this one. Paint apps, not too bad. If you're looking out, I'm sure you'll see several on the pegs. It's really the paint apps here on the reactor and on the face. It's the eyes and the gold right here that you should be looking out for. Sometimes they're misaligned, as you can see on mine. They're a little bit misaligned. Other than that, very nice. Articulation, same as the modular bleeding edge armor. Ball jointed neck on a hinge, ab crunch, ratcheting, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrist, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joints. So very nice. Even the hands are exactly the same. Okay, and we'll do him last because I think he's the best. I mean, not to take anything away from these two figures, but these three are probably the best ones there is. So let's start with Batista, or Drax the Destroyer. It's a very nice mold. He's probably the one that looks most like how he looked like in the movie for some reason. Well, he's an easy mold to do, just a beefed up guy in pants, and give him some knives. The head sculpt, I think they did a wonderful job on the head sculpt. I'm really liking it. I wasn't a big fan of these tattoos in the movie. I thought they were weird, and even in the figure, they're okay. But it's very accurate, and I'm very pleased with it. It's a large body mold, a bit bigger than that one. They gave him two knives, which, just like in the movie, you can store it nicely on the sheaths on his boots, just like that. And it is Drax. He's very nice. I wish they would have given us a Ronin figure. That would have been really, really nice to go with this figure. But we'll see. I don't want Hasbro promising something, then we'll just end up canceling it. So the sculpt, silhouette, phenomenal on this figure. I love it. I mean, I didn't think I was going to like it, but, you know, it's so close to how it looked like in the movie, to me at least. So, paint apps, it's good. Hardly anything I could say about it. Articulation, he's got a ball jointed neck on a hinge, ratcheting abs, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrist, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with their rocker joints. Basically the same as these two guys. And you can expect probably the same articulation with Star-Lord. So here we have Star-Lord. He's got a ton of accessories. Let's start with the silhouette on this guy. Very, very nice representation of Peter Quill. I am so loving this figure. I am actually tempted to get another one, just so I can display it with both heads or with different accessories. Hasbro did a phenomenal job on this figure. And if you ask me, this one and Nova are probably the best ones in the lot. I wish they made a variant, but I'm sort of glad they didn't because it's going to be a pain hunting it down. So, silhouette, sculpt, fantastic. Absolutely love this. The detail on the boots, the jacket, his backpack, everything about this figure is so close to the movie. I'm just absolutely loving it. It doesn't look as much as the actor, but it's fine. He's got an alternate head you can put in with his mask on, which is also equally great. This is the one that's displayed in the box like that, and this is the one that has the culprit on the paint apps. The red on the gold is sometimes misaligned, and that's probably the only thing you should be looking out for. He comes with several accessories. He comes with his two blasters, which we saw in the movie. He also comes, let me just get rid of this. He also comes with a pair of headsets, which you can put right there, but there's no wire. So, okay. He also comes with this, I'm not sure if this is supposedly the Walkman. And I'm sure it is, but it's just weird. It's yellow, and yeah, it is the Walkman, but it was supposed to be silver, but they made it yellow, and he can barely hold this. There's no way to put it in any part of his body, so, you know, just put it in the bin. And finally, the orb, which is nicely sculpted, the orb. I don't think he can hold it. Maybe he can. We'll see. No, he can't. There's not even a peg or anything like that. He can't hold it. So, you probably have to keep that in a bin somewhere. Gamora can't hold it. So, very nice. Paint apps are great. Articulation, it's got a ball jointed neck on a hinge. Ab crunch, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrist, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles, and the rocker joints. So, having said that, Rocket gets a... Oh, Groot! Let's talk about this guy. Finally, the Build-A-Figure. Very, very nice. I was expecting to be very disappointed with this figure. I thought it was just going to be like literally a tree that you could not pose. But they gave him very, very awesome details. And the articulation on this guy, well, it was good enough for me. So, detail and sculpt, absolutely phenomenal. Look at this guy's head. It's so much like in the movie. You can give him very emotive poses. And he's tall. He's taller, I think, than the Monger. He'll probably stand about 8 inches. The sculpt on this guy, just look at all the detail just a little bit of very few paint apps, but that's fine. But the detail they've put on this figure, just branches and sinews like everywhere. He's got a ball jointed paint apps. Oh, it's the eyes that you should be looking out for. Make sure that the black is painted on. Fair enough. And then this one is not. The wash, the green wash isn't too bad. Ball jointed neck on a hinge. Ball jointed upper torso. Ball hinge shoulders, biceps swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists, ball hinge hips, and the peg is like stuck at a 45-degree angle. So yeah, no thigh swivel. That's probably the only comment I have with this guy, because it's going to be very difficult to have him in a seated position. Not like you want him in a seated position anyway. Ball hinge knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joint. So having said that, let's give them all a final grade. Not as a whole, I'm going to grade them separately. Nova, this guy is definitely going to get a 10 out of 10. Iron Man, because I'm a big fan, is going to get a 9 out of 10. Gamora is just going to get an 8. Drax is going to get a 9. This guy's a 7. This guy's an 8. So overall, the set, easily a 9 out of 10 for me. Just a wonderful, wonderful set. I mean, if you're a big fan of the movie, you love the Marvel Legends scale, this is one set you should not pass up. So I hope you've enjoyed this video review. If you did, please click the thumbs up icon at the bottom. Follow me on Twitter for my toy purchase. I post everything I buy, the new ones I buy, on Twitter. Check out my posts. If you're toy hunting, go check out my pictures on Instagram. I post all my toy sightings in Manila and where they're located. And all my video reviews, hauls, vlogs are going to be on this channel, Chefatron. This has been the Marvel Legends, Infinite series, no, not Infinite, Marvel Legends, Guardians of the Galaxy wave of figures featuring the Space Armor Iron Man, Richard Rider Nova, Gamora, Drax, Peter Quill, the Star-Lord, and Rocket Raccoon. The Build-A-Figure is obviously Groot. Thanks for watching.